for the body. So let's open up, and this is the scene file we left off with our image planes in place. So what we want to do is just create a piece of geometry that encompasses this overall kind of egg shape that we have for the body. Now you can see that a lot of it is actually cut out, but for us, we just want to create that shape so that we can draw some new topology on top of. You can see that shape here with part of it cut out for the arms and that sort of thing, but really think of it as one whole sort of rounded shape. So let's start by bringing in a piece of geometry that's going to really help us create a smooth surface. So let's use a piece of NURBS geometry. So we'll use a NURBS sphere. We'll just drop this into our scene. You can see that drag on the grid lets us know the interactive creation is still on for that, so we'll turn that off. Pop that NURBS sphere in, and then let's move it up into position. Let's go to scale, and I'm just going to scale it up. And if you want to turn on X-ray, that'll help you see through your geometry a little bit as we begin to shape it. Now one thing we'll notice here from the side, we'll turn on X-ray again here, or you can use wireframe as well, is the fact that you can sort of see, visualize kind of a pole here and a pole here. So let's kind of rotate this sphere, so something like that. And then let's scale it, and because we've rotated it, remember that axis will move, so we can kind of scale it out like that. And let's kind of move it down. Don't pay any attention to this windscreen just yet. Just think of this as one shape here coming across here, so you can see it sort of cut off, but this is not the shape that we're trying to match. So make this whole thing a little bit bigger. Okay, and let's kind of scale it out a little bit more. Now we're only going to be able to get so far just by scaling, but we'll try to get kind of close. Okay, so we end up with something like that. Now right now it has 8 sections and 4 spans. If we increase that, we can get a little bit more control, so maybe increase our spans to 6. Let's leave our sections though at 8. So now we can come in and begin to shape this a little bit. So let's go kind of to the front view. I'm going to choose hull. I'm going to grab one of these holes going all the way around and just scale it in the X. So we'll kind of narrow it in a little bit. Coming up here, I'll select this one. You can see this is actually selecting all the way around, just like that. And then I'll scale that out. You can do this by selecting your points as well. Okay, you want it to be a little bit bigger than what we're looking at, because then the lines here, because we're going to be creating topology for a section of this, not the whole thing. Let's go to control vertices. We'll select all of those, and let's kind of scale those out so it becomes very wide at the back. Okay, so maybe something like that. We can begin to shape this a little bit by grabbing points on the bottom and starting to move that a little bit to kind of match up with the back of this. The geometry under here doesn't matter as much, the position of it. It only matters in that, how much it affects the geometry up here. We'll kind of pull this forward a little bit. Let's take these points and sort of pull them down just so that this matches up. Matches up pretty well up here. We'll kind of bring this in a little bit. And let's kind of pull this down a little. It shouldn't go all the way past the tubes there. It should actually be down a bit. Kind of see it. Yeah, it should actually be a little bit lower than that. So again, just tweak this a little bit. And it's nice because this NURBS object maintains its smoothness as we come in here and modify these points. And again, we're just using this as a blank piece of geometry to be able to add our topology on top of. So you can see how this extends past. That's fine, because we're going to be drawing the topology right on top of it. All right, Now at this point, let's go ahead and add another NURB sphere, and this one let's put in place as the screen, and then we'll see where it intersects our blank piece of geometry. So I'm just going to scale it up, kind of make it a little bit more oblong. We'll rotate it a little bit and just kind of match up the shape there. So that's looks pretty good. And we want the intersection of that to be kind of right where this intersection is. So let's pull it out here. And that's actually fairly close. You know, we may want to bring in this geometry a little bit more. It should be right on the edge there, that intersection. So that just kind of lets us know where that is going to intersect. And so when we go to create our new topology, we'll be able to create it right across the side here. Okay, let's check from the front one more time. Let's kind of make this hole right in the middle. Let's make that a little bit wider. And we'll do the same thing here. Make it just a little bit wider. Okay. And let's check where our arm openings will be. Kind of right across there. I think that should work pretty well. And we may want to bring this back part up from the front. You can kind of see that there. You want to bring that up just a little bit, but as long as it's close, it's going to be just fine. Alright, so you've got our blank geometry in here. We've got our sort of windscreen added in. We may need to kind of tweak that just a little bit as far as the placement of it goes, but the main thing is we want to have this sort of intersection here. I also want to take this windscreen, I think, and make it a little bit wider up at the top. You can kind of see that there. Give it a little bit more width. And just look at this line where this intersects. That's the line that we want to really be aware of, because that's where our windscreen is going to be attached into our whole mech body. Alright, so once we've got our blank created, the next thing that we'll do is take a look at a really neat tool here in Maya called Quad Draw that will allow us to draw basically geometry right on top